Hello dear friends. So we are in mid of a very interesting discussion on deconstruction. We have discussed some important terms related with deconstruction and we will carry on discussing such more terms. As you can see this particular chart, I have tried to present the chain of signification. Let's take one simple word, father. Okay, in normal, according to Saussure system, this father is a signifier and there is a signified. Let's take the basic definition of father, that is the signified first, a male parent. We all know this. Now a Saussurean system ends with it. It is basically a sign composed of a signifier and its signified, with which we get the reference, जिसके द्वारा हम इसके मीनिंग को देखते हैं. लेकिन deconstruction process जो है, it takes steps further and it points out that a male parent itself is not just a signified but it is also a signifier. Okay, when it becomes a signifier, it carries forward another shades of meaning. एक फादर के जो है, चाहे तो हम इस चेन ऑफ सिग्निफिकेशन को इस तरह से मूव कर सकते हैं, who is a male या what is a male, who is a parent, और चाहे तो इस फादर के अंदर और जितने भी ट्रेसेस हैं उनको हम डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं. ये जो आप क्रॉस देख रहे हैं, दिस इज अ पर्टिकुलर डिवाइस यूज्ड बाय हाइडेगर एंड देन Derrida to point out that a word is not complete. There are traces, and this technique we will discuss. It is called under erasure. So we move forward and found father can also be used in a general term of protector or provider. Now in this sense, this becomes, male parent becomes a kind of signifier and protector become its signified, or we can say it is signifier and this is also signified. Once again, provider or protector can become itself a signifier and then take us to another signified, that is founder or precursor, or we can say father has another signified, that is founder or precursor. Carrying forward this way, we can have authority. In general term, we can say for the founder, he is the father of medicine, father of English poetry. Authority, he behaved like father. So these all are applicable meanings. ये सारे जो words हैं, they can have their own relation with this signifier father. So this is what we have to understand about deconstruction. ये चार्ट छोटा सा मैंने लेसन की बिगनिंग में इसलिए लिया to show that Derrida wants to point out the chain of signification is endless. We can never reach to one particular and to one particular one-to-one relationship. चलिए इस बेसिक छोटे से इंट्रो के बाद let us carry forward with some more terms which Derrida used in his theory. Okay, what I was just telling you about under erasure or sous-erasure. Sous-erasure is basically a French term for under erasure. What is under erasure? Under erasure means a word is crossed out. As we have seen in the last diagram, a word is basically crossed out and but allowed to remain in the final text. We are not deleting it, we are not erasing it, we are just putting a cross in it because it indicates word is inadequate. It is not complete in itself. ये अपने आप में पूरा मीनिंग नहीं दे रहा है, but we are at lack to find a better option. There is no other word which could be found which could fulfill all the condition of the meaning. It is a deconstructionist technique which calls attention to the limitations and relativity of language. Language in itself cannot make complete perfect circle sense. Language कभी भी आपको सर्कल पूरा करके नहीं देगी. It will leave traces, it will leave gaps, और ये gaps नए नए signifiers, नए नए signifieds को जन्म देते रहते हैं. Originally, this term "Erasure" was used by Heidegger while writing a letter to his friend to interrogate the word being. हम सभी जानते हैं जो हाइडेगर का मेन जो फोकस था अपनी फिलॉसफी के अंदर, that was on this identification being. Heidegger increasingly felt the inadequacy of the word being, or what is in French sein. He begins to write in its old German form sein, but is still not satisfied. He finally crosses out the word sein. So you can see this is what we call under erasure. This basically shows that the writer or the theorist feels the inadequacy of language to convey the finality of meaning. Language can just give you an idea, we can say a reference, but it cannot conclude the meaning. Okay, Derrida extended its scope and pointed out, look at the language. Language is, look at this particular point. Language is not a direct experience of reality, but rather a socially constructed approximation. This is the key word. Language is approximation. देखिए socially construct ये हम देख चुके हैं, मिशेल फूको के अंदर देख चुके हैं, इवन सोशेरियन सिस्टम भी मान के चलता है it is a social constructed phenomena, it is nothing like a natural way of expressing. लेकिन नया जो वर्ड है that is approximation. No word is ever entirely adequate. Entirely adequate means that word is totally capable of producing the sense or the meaning, the final meaning to explain reality, and that is why he used a sweeping statement. Derrida uses a sweeping statement. क्या? All language is under erasure. All language is erasure means हर language का हर word जो है अपने आप में inadequate है, but we cannot do away with them. We do not have any other options, so we have to retain those words, but we knowing that they are not complete. While Western tradition right from Plato endorses writing as inferior to speech, Derrida demonstrates speech itself to be a form of writing. He calls it writing on the airwaves or on the memory of the listener or recording device. Basically, जो speech है, what he wants to say, that it is not that writing comes from the speech. He says speech is itself a form of writing. Those qualities which we find in writing are also there in the speech, and speech is like writing on the airwaves. Just like writing is on basically a paper with the help of ink, sound or speech is also writing on the airwave, on the memory of the listener or recording device. Then he comes to the point, speech may occur within writing and writing may occur within speech. So both can have, we have already seen that in earlier lesson कि जो आपका सेंटर में राइटिंग है या फिर आपके सेंटर के अंदर स्पीच है, both can take the center. At times where writing may express the passion that exists prior to speech. This is important. What he is trying to convey, this particular word writing does not mean the typical traditional sense of writing. It means writing that can be articulated by singing, which is not a speech, speaking, that is a speech, shouting, once again that is not a speech, gesturing, or by writing. So all kind of expressions are used by Derrida in his new word writing. Please try to understand, this writing is different from this writing. ये writing तो एक binary opposition के अंदर है metaphysics के अंदर, जिसको inferior माना गया है because it is twice removed from the source. जबकि ये writing W capital Derrida के द्वारा coin किया गया word है, in which he includes all forms of expression through which humans express. Not only humans, even animals express. So we can even include dancing in it, shouting in it, body language in it, and obviously these are not only the forms of speech. So he says both speech and writing and the hierarchy they hold for a century is now under erasure or Surature. That is why this typical dichotomy, this typical binary opposition between writing and speech is not able to cover the whole range of human communication. Derrida marks that the concepts are under erasure by drawing an X over them. It becomes a sort of non-concept of meaning, neither affirming because it is crossing it, nor rejecting because it is still there, suspending it, suspending logic, suspending reason, suspending truth, or leave space for activities. So this was Under Erasure or Surature for you. Okay, let's move to our next term used by Derrida. Once again, it is in context of speech writing binary opposition. It is Ecriture, which is writing, which we have already discussed, and Arche Ecriture, or in Indian sense, Arche Ecriture. The term Ecriture, which is translated from French into English, means writing. It was coined by Derrida as a sign of protest against logocentrism in general. Logocentrism, once again, the Western tendency to put speech in the center or in the dominant position of this hierarchy. When he has already shown, Derrida once he has shown, speech can also be treated as derived form of writing. Then Derrida goes further to define non-science of writing. Once again, look at this: non-science, non-logic, non-concept. To demonstrate this, Derrida introduces the non-existent form of writing, and he calls it Arche writing. Writing that exists before the hierarchy. Writing that, yeah, यहाँ पे writing का मतलब it's not just what we say orthography, marks on the paper. It is human communication. It is expression before we have this hierarchy of speech over writing. Now this Arche writing asserts writing is not a derived form of speech. Arche writing is the idea of going beyond writing and speech. ये तब की बात है जब ह्यूमन सिस्टम इवॉल्व भी नहीं हुआ था, बट स्टिल ह्यूमंस वर एबल टू कॉन्टैक्ट ईच अदर, टू एक्सप्रेस देमसेल्फ विद द हेल्प ऑफ आइदर जेस्चर्स और शाउटिंग और टिपिकल साउंड्स. जब एक ह्यूमन लैंग्वेज सिस्टम डेवलप नहीं हुआ था, इवन देन देयर वाज कम्युनिकेशन. This is the basic idea. The idea is to look beyond what is spoken loud, that is speech, or written on the page, that is writing, and rather look for the origin of the word. Whenever a word is written, it introduces something that is between what is intended to be conveyed and what is actually conveyed, and this is what is Arche writing. Or in other words, very simple words, हम कह सकते हैं this is what difference is, this is what trace is. यही actually Derrida in his different essays uses different terminology, but basic idea behind all these words is that there is always traces of something which are not apparent, which are not visible on the surface. Okay, next very important term is supplement. Okay, we all know basic meaning of supplement, and it is used in this traditional sense by Rousseau, once again in the hierarchy of speech and writing. But look how Derrida has changed the perspective. The concept of the supplement is taken by Derrida from Rousseau, who defined it an inessential extra added to something complete in itself. Now, if you remember the famous preface to lyrical ballad, and thereafter in Biographia Literaria, there is a discussion on the role of meter in the pleasure of poetry, and both poets present their opinion. One consider meter to be essential part of poetry, while the other poet consider it as just mere super added pleaser. Similarly, Rousseau says, what is supplement? Supplement is inessential extra. Inessential extra means, yes, something is complete, but you put something extra to make it more effective, more we can say more expressive. आप बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल हम रियल लाइफ में देख सकते हैं. व्हेन वी हैव फिनिश समथिंग, फॉर एग्जाम्पल गिफ्ट रैप. Okay, you have wrapped the gift box, सब कुछ कर दिया, then you add a flower on it or a tag on it or something extra on it and you say it is just a supplementary thing. Okay, तो इसी सेंस में रूसो ने यूज़ करा. But Derrida shows a supplement suggests two things at the same time. First, it serves to enhance the presence of something which is already considered to be complete and self-sufficient. जो रूसो कह रहे हैं कि supplement is there for something which is already complete, जो अपने आप में क्या है, पूरी है, और supplement केवल उसके लिए additional है, इनएसेंशियल है, इट इज़ नॉट कंपल्सरी. लेकिन डरीडा आर्ग्यूज व्हाट इज कंप्लीट इन इटसेल्फ कैन नॉट बी एडेड टू इफ इट इज कंप्लीट, लाइक definition of plot by Aristotle, which is complete in itself. Neither you can remove something from it, neither you can not you can add to it. तो डरीडा का मानना है कि दैट इज कंप्लीट इन इटसेल्फ. हाउ कैन यू ऐड समथिंग टू इट? अ थिंग नीड्स टू बी एडेड मीन्स देयर इज अ होल एंड द सप्लीमेंट कैन फिल दैट होल. डरीडा कॉल्स दिस होल एन originary lack. Originary lack means if there is a need to for a supplement, it means the thing is not complete. There is a gap, there is a hole, there is a lacuna, there is a, we can say, space where the supplement fits. Okay, Rousseau teaches writing may become a dangerous supplement if it is used as a substitute for speech. Once again, the hierarchy, typical hierarchy, Rousseau says, okay, writing is good, but only it should be used just as a supplement. If it takes place of a speech, it becomes dangerous. He states, languages are made to be spoken. Writing serves only as a supplement to the speech. So according to Rousseau, speech is complete in itself and writing is mere supplement to it. A satellite to this particular earth or a planet to this particular sun. वो केवल इसके चारों तरफ है. लेकिन Derrida counters argue that writing may be stated as mere supplement to speech. लेकिन this means writing still adds meaning to the speech and it may still provide a kind of presence. If a speech is complete in itself, then what is the need of writing? Supplement की जरूरत ही क्यों पड़ी? Writing being viewed as a supplement to speech suggests there is a loss of presence in speech which must be supplemented by writing. There is some lack, there is some gap, there is some hole in this presence of speech which must be pulled off by writing. Derrida observes Rousseau condemns and disqualifies writing. In his experience as a writer, he valorizes, supports, rehabilitates, establishes writing. Rousseau himself presents his views as a writer, which itself is a quite proof that he needs writing to prove his point. Writing becomes a means to recover whatever presence is lacking. So this is concept of supplement. Okay. Next, we will talk about Pharmacon. Pharmacon is once again about that chain of signification, or what we can say, endless search for the final meaning. The ancient word Pharmacon is paradoxical in itself. It can be translated as drug, and it can means both the remedy and the poison. Plato's Pharmacy, this is the name of the essay in which Derrida makes reference to Phaedrus. Now Phaedrus is name of an ancient dialogue between Plato and Socrates, and traces the meaning which is assigned to Pharmacon. Plato, now he establishes an opposition between presence and absence, typical metaphysical thinking of West, then attacks writing as a far removed substitute for self-representative discourse such as speech. Once again, Plato criticizes writing because according to him it is a removed substitute while speech is self-present. The Egyptian god of writing thought he offers King Thomas writing as a remedy that can help memory. Look at this. This example is given by Plato. This god of writing, he offers to Thamus this particular remedy. Lekin Thamus refuses the gift, saying it will only create forgetfulness. Writing is thus a poison. Now both senses are equally applicable in this context. It can be taken either as remedy or its totally opposite sense as a poison. Let us make it more clear. Derrida points out, problem of restricting the multiple meanings of a given word is clearly a problem of translation. Okay, now Plato has used this word Pharmacon, but when a translator translates these words into any other language like English or French, and he looks up or she looks up a dictionary, they may find a host of meanings. It is like a drug, a remedy, a poison. Now what a translator has to decide is which particular meaning is applicable. The translator must choose, as in the case of Pharmacon, to either translate it as a remedy or as a poison. It is totally the choice of the translator. One would think this would give one meaning according to the context it is used. Generally we say that the meaning depends upon the context, but Derrida points out these two antithetical opposite sense of the words are everywhere को-प्रेजेंट, प्रेजेंट साइड बाय साइड, दोनों का एक साथ मीनिंग चलता है इन प्लेटो's text, and they defeat all attempts to choose one or the other according to the context. The Pharmacon is thus particularly useful for thinking about writing as something that is essentially ambivalent, full of traces, and irreducible to simple conceptual or philosophical binary opposition, because each signifier has a host of signifieds, as we have seen in the very beginning of this video. Okay, the next term we are going to discuss is Hymen. Now once again, a very complicated explanation by Derrida. Hymen is basically a Greek word for skin, a membrane of the vaginal hymen, and it also refers to the Greek god of matrimony. Okay, so it is a biological part of female anatomy, and also it refers to Greek god of marriage. Derrida uses it to refer to the interplay between the normally considered mutually exclusive term of inside and outside. Now what is that? Thing that is inside cannot be outside, and thing that is outside cannot be inside. They both are mutually exclusive, just like binary opposition of man and women, dark and light, good and bad, evil. तो ये terms क्या है? Mutually exclusive मानी गई है. If it is dark, there cannot be light. If it is good, it cannot be evil. So Derrida treats this particular separateness, this particular exclusiveness with the help of this term Hymen. As an invisible veil, it stands between the inside and outside of a woman, because it is a vaginal hymen. Outside it is the outside, and inside it is the inside of the female body, and consequently between male desire and fulfillment. If a male is outside this particular hymen, he is outside, and if he has penetrated this hymen, he is inside the female body, or he has fulfillment. But marriage refers to male-female fusion. Hymen implies both barrier and interaction, because Hymen is the god of marriage. So Hymen means fusion, or we can say copulation of two bodies. So Hymen presents interaction also, but as a female anatomical part, it represent barrier also. The hymen is like difference and Pharmacon, having two opposite meaning at the same time. It becomes impossible to distinguish whether the membrane is on the inside or the outside. At the same time, the need for hymen is inevitable, because in absence of it, the distinction between inside and outside disappears. It is hymen is like a curtain. Okay, if you have a curtain, you can say you are inside the curtain, inside the room or outside the room. But because it is almost invisible. You cannot say what is inside and what is outside, but because it is there, so there is a mark which tells you your position. Hymen is neither fusion nor separation, but stands between the two. It is neither inside nor outside, but between the two. So thus Derrida tackles with this particular concept of strict binary position. Okay, next term which we are going to discuss is aporia. It is also very much discussed terms, one of the discussed terms of deconstruction. Aporia is basically a Greek term which denotes a logical contradiction, impassive, where we says that we have reached to situation where it cannot be further debated, or we have reached a dead end. Okay, Derrida refers to what he calls the blind spots of any metaphysical arguments. What does it mean? That we reaches because of this Hymen, Pharmacon difference, because of this endless chain of signification, we finally reaches a point where it becomes impossible to go further. In a text, it is a situation very elements that makes a thing possible are simultaneously the same one that makes the things impossible. जब हम ये कहते हैं कि writing is derived from the speech, okay, ठीक है, logic हो गया, but when we have shown that speech has the quality which is derived from writing, then the whole hierarchy is reversed, and we are at our wits end to find the ultimate. ये जो बहुत पुरानी एक ट्रेडिशनल पजल है, पहले hen और egg which comes first, it is the best example to consider what is aporia. Hen to egg or egg to hen, writing to speech or speech to writing, male to female or female to male, darkness to light or light to darkness. Which came first, or which is the dominant, or which is the earlier term? So ये basically trace, difference, supplement with the example of these things. Text becomes a point where many meanings from various readings interact, mingle together, and it is impossible to reach one particular conclusion. So the factor of aporia is always there. Derrida famously analyzed concepts of gifting, hospitality, forgiveness, mourning to show these concepts are forever elusive and can never actually be fulfilled. He says what we gift is basically, is it a gift intentionally or it is some sort of giving something with intention of taking it back. So what is basically gift? Similarly, he talks about mourning, or he talks about forgiveness. Okay friends, the last term which we are going to discuss about this particular theoretical concept is Graham. Basically Derrida challenges the opposition between speech and writing, and he hints at the necessity to find a new non-concept or alternative notion that can replace the standard notion of writing. We have already seen in the concept of Ecriture or writing with capital W. He calls it basically gram, which he derives from the Greek word gramme, written mark or line, जिससे हमने grammar word को derive करा है. This gram points to the grapheme or mark that is outside the typical sign. It is thus the name of the sign under erasure. Okay, so something which you have find that it is inadequate to complete the sense, there comes the role of gram. It is the trace which is always there but which is invisible. It is the difference which always delay the final meaning of a particular signifier. Derrida के हिसाब से gram is what remarks the sign as a structure of difference which makes the signification a process or play of difference and traces of these differences. Gram never escapes exteriority or the deferral that Derrida considers constitutive of language, which means each mark, each gram, each trace, each different led to another such mark, another such trace. So this deferral process, this delaying, this taking over to the next term always continues. So friends, these are the some terms. I know that they are a bit difficult to understand. मैंने अपनी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश करी है कि इनको थोड़ा easy में कर सकूं. But still, I would suggest to go and read some good books about deconstruction. Try to find some videos on it and some authentic sources so that you can understand this philosophical concept. In coming videos, we are going to discuss about some more theoretical concepts and approaches like new historicism and cultural studies. Stay safe. Thank you, friends.